So please join me in welcoming Grace Sampson. Okay, she's a public affairs specialist for the California Bay Area. And Grace brings a wealth of knowledge and experience with a background that includes a bachelor's degree in business administration from the University of Nevada and over 15 years of experience with the Social Security Administration. Thanks so much, Grace, for being here today.
Thank you so much, Tish, and Brian as well, for inviting us back to share Social Security information. Like Tish mentioned, we are going to be discussing protecting yourself from fraud and abuse, and also being aware of fraud and abuse, what to do about it. And before we begin, I do have a short disclaimer to read that the information and material in this presentation has been prepared by the Social Security Administration's Public Affairs Office and is intended for informational purposes only. Participation in this presentation does not constitute an endorsement by Social Security or its employees of the organizations and information and products not provided by SSA. So we'll talk a bit today about protecting your information, how you can protect your information, how Social Security is working to protect your information. We're going to discuss scam awareness, elder abuse, as well as just abuse that's targeted to people that are beneficiaries, elderly, disabled individuals. And then we will wrap up with identity theft. Before we jump in, though, I do want to highlight our website. Our website is a valuable resource of information. It has everything you need to know about Social Security programs, resources, applications, policy, our publications. Everything is available on our website. If you scroll down to the bottom, you can see under the support column, I've circled the contact us link. And then we have a little arrow there pointing to report fraud. So directly from these links, you can get this information or report this information. You can also change our website to Spanish. You can also preview publications in other languages. You can also replace your Social Security card online. If for whatever reason you can't complete the process, you will be offered an option to make an appointment. Never before has the agency allowed you to make an appointment to replace your Social Security card. And the only way to access it is to start the application online. So I do want to highlight that because that is a great enhancement that we've added. Now we're going to watch a short video.
Data breach results in the loss of millions of consumers' private records.
Hackers buy and sell private data on the dark web.
Ligat Credit Reporting Bureau exposes customers' Social Security numbers.
In the digital age, where data is collected and sold to the highest bidder, it is more important than ever to protect our personal information. At the Social Security Administration, protecting your privacy is a top priority and is taken very seriously. Through our employees, processes, and technology, SSA guards our network from identity thieves, hackers, insider threats, and other criminals. Protecting your personal information starts with every agency employee recognizing the importance of your privacy and data and a commitment to help protect it. In fact, the very first regulation ever adopted by SSA, Regulation 1, established privacy protections. From the first days on the job, SSA employees are taught how to recognize security threats, how to respond, and how to report them. We provide annual mandatory security training to every employee, and we conduct routine exercises to be sure we are always ready to spot a threat. Securing your information is a team effort, and training in cybersecurity best practices enables each employee to make sound security decisions in whatever work they do. In addition to training our workforce, SSA maintains highly effective internal checks and balances to protect your data from anyone accessing it who does not need to. Our program complies with federal policies and regulations, including the National Institute of Standards and Technology Cybersecurity Framework. which provides guidance for government agencies and private organizations to reduce cybersecurity risks. We have implemented a program that incorporates identity verification to make sure only you can see your information. Additionally, we use systems to restrict access to information within our network, ensuring that only those employees who need to see your data to perform their official duties can access it. We also use advanced analytics and a proven risk reduction strategy to ensure our systems are not vulnerable to outside threats. Our procedures are designed with security in mind, and each and every time we access your data, it is subject to strict security and privacy controls. The final piece of our robust data protection system is well-maintained and managed technology. SSA continues to devote funding to upgrading and improving our systems. We staff a 24/7 operations center that can identify and respond to threats in real time. SSA leads the federal government in our ability to identify fraudulent behavior and suspicious activities through predictive computer modeling before they become widespread. Our use of data analysis allows us to be proactive and respond quickly to threats, sometimes before they even happen. Finally, we use industry-leading technology like encryption and firewalls to protect the information you trust us with. Although SSA makes every attempt to keep your information safe, we cannot do it without your help. There are steps you can take to protect yourself. Do not routinely carry your Social Security card or other documents that display your Social Security number. Be careful who you share your number with, even when you are asked for it. Additionally, open a personal My Social Security account today and take away the risk of someone else creating one in your name. Finally, if you know your Social Security information has been compromised, contact us and request to block electronic access to your record. Privacy, data security, and protection of your personal information are key components of our public service goals. SSA does not ever sell, publish, or share your private data with anyone who is not entitled to it. Whether you are accessing our website, logging into your personal My Social Security account, or discussing your business face-to-face in our field offices, we remain committed to guarding the information we manage from cybersecurity threats and illegal attempts to violate your privacy rights. For more information, visit www.ssa.gov/privacy.
Social Security, securing today and tomorrow.
All right, the video really did a great job of covering how Social Security works to protect your information every day and keep it safe by the actions that we take when we're doing our day-to-day business and when we're communicating with, attorneys, with agencies, and how we make sure that we are keeping the information safe based on how we're using our technology. And it also highlighted some things at the end that we're going to go through as well in a little bit more detail. As technology continues to improve, scammers and fraud, they have to keep changing with the times, right? And so we have to really become vigilant about our information and trying to keep it safe. So we do have some tips here, 10 tips to protect your personal information. And the first one he covered was to always protect your Social Security number. We advise you not to carry your card in your wallet, to keep it someplace at home where you know it is. Most of us, we know our numbers by heart, and rarely do we have to provide the actual card. Sometimes if you're starting a job or, going through a loan process, they'll ask to see it, but not normally on a day-to-day activity. The second one he also mentioned briefly was never to give out your personal information over the phone or in an email to someone who asks for it. And, companies and agencies that are needing it typically won't ask for you to share it via email. And know that you can also question the need for the Social Security number. I always share the story of my experience at my optometrist. They were asking for my social and I wasn't sure why. And I don't think they meant any harm by it. It was just easier for them to look up my information, although I did provide my insurance card. And they're just going to write it on a piece of paper and then, put it in a folder. It's very risky. What if something happens to those, paper files that they have? I asked them what they do with the information and they just say we discard it, but they're not saying that they're shredding it or anything like that. So just be mindful when people ask you for your number so that you can make sure that they really need it. The third tip here is to understand that generally no government agency or reputable company will ever call you unexpected and request for your personal information or request money or fees or for services in the form of a gift card payment or a wire transfer. Another thing to think about is that you should shred any piece of paper that contains your personal information, like your name, your date of birth, your social security number. It's funny to think, but very true, that people do search through trash. They do search through trash for information, and a combination of your information, like your name, date of birth, social, place of birth, can allow someone to take your identity. We also advise that you regularly check your financial accounts for suspicious transactions. I've gotten into the habit of this myself as someone that's, had fraud happen with cards and bank information being shared. And I check my transactions on my bank accounts and credit cards. I try to do it at least once or a week or once every other week, just to make sure that everything there is accurate. You can also request a free credit report from each of the 3 credit bureaus every year. There's also some other credit apps that can allow you to check your credit report. It's advised to install and have some type of antivirus software on your computer. Additionally, try to make your passwords more complicated so that they're harder for other people to access or hack. I mean, on the flip side, right, when we have a more complicated password, it's harder for us to remember. So I'm sometimes someone that does this where I don't make it too complicated, but it is important, especially if you have a lot of online presence. Make sure to never click on a link sent in an unsolicited email or a text message. Make it a habit. This is one of the things that we do at Social Security. Our IT department sends us these different emails to make sure that we know that we shouldn't, that what looks fraudulent. But never click on any links. I've been getting some lately that are saying they're from the USPS office and that my package needs to be picked up, and to click on this link to verify my address or verify my information. We know that at first I thought, well, what package do I have coming? And then as I continue to get it, I realized that this is definitely a scam. Luckily, I never clicked on any of the links. And tip 10 is do not believe calls, emails, or texts saying that you need to pay a fee to collect lottery winnings or to resolve an issue with the government. Or maybe sometimes they're saying you could get a discounted cable bill or electricity bill if you pay up front 6 months. So you want to stay up to date on current fraud scams. And you can do so at our OIG website, which oig.ssa.gov. Another suggestion mentioned on the video, which we encourage, all the time, is for those of you that have not made a My Social Security account, we definitely encourage you to do so. It's a convenient way to manage your information. It's also a secure suite of services that allows you to control your personal information and manage your benefits when you start receiving them. Or if you're not yet getting benefits, it allows you to generate information like an earnings statement, a benefit estimate, without having to visit an office. And it's important to create your account so that you have that secure. Your login is already created. No one else can access that but you. If you go to our website, this is the page here that if you go to the My Social Security account, this is the landing page that you'll see. Always keep in mind that all of our web information is from our website, always ends in .gov. A lot of information out there on the internet, but it's not necessarily from Social Security. So make sure to double check that website when it propagates onto your URL bar. Because although it might say something in the picture about being Social Security, when you click it, it actually routes you to a different page. So when you scroll down from that My SSA account sign in, it shares with you why you should create an account. And I do want to highlight that. Number one, it's quick. It gives you immediate access, to important information. It's secure and it's easy. I'm just going to make your login. It does take a little bit of time, but it allows you again to control your information. You can request a replacement card. You can change your direct deposit. You can print a benefit verification letter or change your address. Maybe you need a replacement 1099 for tax purposes. If you're not getting benefits yet, you can review your Social Security statement. We don't mail them out anymore, and this way you can take a look at your earnings. You can check your application status. So there's a lot of things, a whole host of things that you can do from your My SSA account. We want to make sure that you guard your card. Okay, so like we mentioned earlier, you don't need to carry your card with you. It's not necessarily an identification card. This publication or this graphic shows the main times or the main reasons that you would need to show your Social Security card. So sometimes you need it for evidence for work. But there are other documents that can be used instead of your Social Security card, like a birth certificate, if you have a permanent resident card, an employment authorization document, or an I-94. Sometimes you need it for evidence for the Department of Motor Vehicles, the DMV, or to get a driver's license, or a real ID. But the only state that to show your actual physical Social Security card is Pennsylvania. And we don't live in Pennsylvania, right? So for all other states, other acceptable evidence includes a W-2 form, a 1099, a non-1099 SSA form, or paycheck stubs. How about for other benefits? Sometimes if you need housing or food assistance or health insurance, they're going to ask you for your Social Security card. But typically you should only have to provide them with your number. They shouldn't have to see or take a copy of your physical card. And the last reason might be for tax purposes. However, again, you do not need to provide your Social Security card, but you need to know your Social Security number, and that should suffice. And we're going to go a little bit into scam awareness. And I do have a shorter video here that we're going to share with you on how to spot a scam. And again, all of this information, all these videos are available on our YouTube channel, which is at Social Security. And I'm going to share it again so that we don't have that problem that we did earlier.
Every day, criminals attempt to obtain personal information or money from unsuspecting people by impersonating government employees. They might call, email, text, write, or message you on social media, claiming to be from the Social Security Administration or the Office of the Inspector General. They might even use the name of a person who really works there and might send a picture or document as proof. Understanding the signs of a scam allows you to avoid being scammed. You knowing the signs and reporting the scam, it helps us stop the scammers. Be on the lookout for these red flags that probably mean the message is a scam.
He said he was from the Social Security Administration and sent a copy of his badge to prove it. They also threatened to suspend my Social Security number.
The imposters may sound legit, but no, it's a scam, because Social Security will never suspend your Social Security number or send photographs of federal credentials or badges. It's illegal.
I felt pressure to act immediately. She said there is a problem with my account.
Social Security will never pressure you to take immediate action, including sharing personal information.
They told me to pay with gift cards, prepaid debit cards, wire transfers, cryptocurrency, or to mail cash.
Social Security will never ask you to pay with gift cards, prepaid debit cards, wire transfers, cryptocurrency, or by mailing cash.
They demanded secrecy and said that I couldn't tell anyone.
Social Security will never demand secrecy.
I got a direct message from Social Security on social media. When I called the number, they answered as Social Security Administration Department.
Social Security will never direct message you on social media or ask that you send a direct message.
They threatened to seize my bank account.
Social Security will never threaten to seize your bank account.
They wanted personal information and a payment so I could get my cost of living increase. They said they would arrest me and use legal action against me if I didn't pay them right away.
Social Security will never threaten you with arrest or legal action because you don't agree to pay money immediately. And cost of living adjustments are automatic and don't require you to do anything.
The message had spelling errors and really poor grammar. The email had a link that just didn't look right.
Always be cautious when you see spelling errors and bad grammar. And Social Security will never ask you to use a link that doesn't have SSA.gov in it. We hope this has helped you quickly spot scammers. If you receive a call, email, text, or message on social media that seems suspicious, report it right away at oig.ssa.gov.
All right, let me reshare my screen here. And I do want to highlight that we want to also make sure you're aware that some of the scams may not be people pretending to be Social Security, although those exist too. But this information, I would like, for you guys to generally apply it to any type of call, email that looks fishy to you, because sometimes it's not SSA, but other government agencies or companies that scammers are using to target you. For example, mine was my cable bill. I received a call, everything from the message that they give, the hold music, all of it really did sound like my cable company. They had my information. They were offering to give me a discounted, monthly bill if I was to pay in advance. And it really all sounded very legitimate until they asked me to buy gift cards and that I needed to do it in that moment. Luckily, that's the trigger that made me realize that it wasn't, that it was a scam. So it could also be other places. I did get the voicemails and messages from the scammers saying that my Social Security had been compromised and they were going to threaten me with legal action. And it's very scary. So this slide here just reiterates that we do not contact citizens, that generally those who have ongoing business with Social Security by phone for customer service purposes. You would be on benefits and we would only call you because we haven't heard back from you because we've sent you a notice or multiple notices. Social Security employees will never threaten you for information like it covered in the video. We'd never threaten you with legal action, out of nowhere by a voicemail or an email. So in those cases, the call is fraudulent or the email or text message is fraudulent and you should hang up, delete it, don't give any information. They pretend, scammers pretend to be from an agency or an organization that to gain your trust. There's a problem that they're trying to convey to you, or there's a prize, some type of reward. The third indicator is they pressure you. Something has to happen now. They make sure that there's this sense of immediacy or urgency that you have to act within this short window of time in order to either solve the problem or get the prize or get the deal. And then, of course, lastly, they're asking for you to pay in a specific way, or they're asking you to share your personal information, like your bank information or your Social Security card. So recognizing the signs of a scam gives you the power to ignore the criminals and report the scam. Okay, gives you the power to not fall for it. But sometimes, scams come in a variety of ways and they all work the same way. They could be a fake email, a fake text, a fake call. Now with AI being so popular, that artificial intelligence, you're getting these calls of family emergencies or romantic interests, and it's hard sometimes to know. Sometimes things are too good to be true. And if you were scammed and you're recovering from a scam, it can be a long and difficult process. So just some reminders if you have fallen victim to a scam. Don't blame yourself. Criminal behavior is not your fault. Stop the contact with the scammer. Do not talk to them. Don't respond to them. Make sure to notify your 3 major credit bureaus and add a fraud alert to your credit report. You can protect your Social Security account by asking us to put an electronic block on it. There's also a great article on the Federal Trade Commission's website, that's the FTC, on what to do if you're scammed. And I can share that link. It's very helpful. It kind of outlines for you the steps to take. Now, we also want to talk about preventing abuse and financial exploitation, okay? Because people that are on benefits, whether they be elderly, whether they're on disability, they become a target for financial exploitation or abuse. Anyone can be a victim. However, there are certain things that you can do to protect yourself and others that you're close to from abuse and neglect. Here are some red flags that you want to watch out for. Isolation. You're kind of keeping the individual isolated. If the individual has unpaid bills or utilities that have been turned off, and yet you know they're on benefits. Unusual or quick changes in a will or other financial documents. Any missing medications. Any type of bruises or welts, sometimes on the face. You want to make sure that you learn to spot those different red flags. The other thing you want to be mindful is to stay connected. Prevent yourself from being isolated. Beneficiaries and seniors with strong social networks face less risk because they have people in their community or in their families that they can talk to, that are there to help take care of them or make sure they're not, in any type of abusive or neglectful or exploiting type of situation where someone's taking their money. You want to make sure to avoid sharing personal information. And you want to make sure you get direct deposit. So the money goes right into your bank. It's not being mailed to you by a paper check. If you are exposed to some type of situation, whether it be a scam, some type of financial exploitation, make sure to consult with someone that you trust. Don't be pressured or intimidated into making an immediate decision. That is definitely a sign of a scam. They want you to do something now. Don't sign any documents that you don't completely understand without first consulting with someone you trust, whether it be a friend, a family member, an attorney. Secondly, shred documents. Tear up into small pieces or shred your documents with personal information before disposing of them in the trash. And again, if it's too good to be true, whether it be a prize or a loan or an investment opportunity, it probably is, okay? A lot of times, scammers were pretty much just targeting older people, but now they're just targeting everybody. A recent study shows that people between 40 and 60 are now a target of scammers. In addition to these tips, there are a variety of local resources in your community that help address abuse, whether it be elder abuse or child abuse or just adult abuse. And adult protective service agencies investigate and can respond to suspected abuse. You can even submit a, anonymous query that'll allow them to just check in and make sure that everything is going okay, that there is no abuse or neglect happening. This slide gives you the phone numbers for the Do Not Call registry. That's going to help reduce the amount of telemarketing calls and scam calls that you get. Or you can visit the Do Not Call website instead of calling the phone number. If you suspect fraud or financial exploitation, you can contact the Office of Inspector General. The website is oig.ssa.gov. And if you suspect any elder abuse, call the Elder Care Locator, or you can visit their website to connect with local entities to report it. We're going to talk about identity theft next, and I believe this is our last topic. So I do want to share information about it because it is one of the fastest growing crimes in America. So there were over 5.4 million reports of fraud, identity theft, and other reports to the Federal Trade Commission in 2023. That's a lot. 1 in 5 people lost money in imposter scams in 2023, totaling about $2.6 billion. Imagine that. That is people giving away their own money. So we want you to, again, protect your personal information. Your PIN number, that's for your debit cards. You know, thieves may have access to your existing PINs. Don't write down your passwords. And if you do, don't keep them in your purse or wallet or desk. Don't label it passwords, right? You want to memorize them. You want to refrain from using common things like your mother's maiden name. Avoid using the last 4 digits of your social. On this slide, it shows you the examples and the impact of identity theft. Remember, identity thieves can use your information to get credit, as in credit cards or credit from a bank. They can steal your tax refund or even get medical care. And that can take an emotional toll on you, let alone the financial impact, right? So you can see here on the left column some examples of misuse, right? They can open a credit card, open utility accounts, apply for a tax refund. Let's say you file for your taxes later in the year, they jump on it and do it right away. They could try to apply for your tax refund before you. You can get a loan, apply for employment, get medical care, illegal use of your social security number. So those are some different examples of how someone can use your identity information. Now, how does this impact you? How does this impact the victims? Well, now you're being denied a credit card or a loan. You're being denied of public benefits like food stamps or housing, state disability, denial of medical care. You could be starting to get harassed by debtors and collectors when it wasn't even your account. Lawsuits, or even just the stress, anxiety, embarrassment of the whole situation. And of course, all the time and expenses that you spend on trying to fix the situation. So again, regarding your social security number, SSA protects your SSN and keeps your records confidential. Even in my career, we don't ever email socials out. We don't include that information. We shred all documents, all notices, anything that has your name, your address, anything that can be a personal piece of information, it is shredded. You know, again, be careful about sharing your number, even when people ask you for it. Keep your card at home, somewhere safe. Try not to carry it with you. And if something does happen, remember to call companies where you know the fraud occurred. Place a fraud alert and get your credit reports. And report the identity theft to the Federal Trade Commission at identitytheft.gov. So identitytheft.gov is the federal government's one-stop resource for identity theft victims. The site provides streamlined checklists and sample letters to guide you through the process. They're going to ask you to explain what happened. Then they're going to give you a recovery plan. They'll either create one for you. That's a personal plan for yourself for you to follow. And then they're going to walk you through each recovery step and update your plan as needed. It's free, okay? It's a free feature on the website, and it provides a new level of personalization and assistance for the victims. Again, they're going to assign you a recovery plan to walk you through the steps. An identity theft affidavit that you can review and update at any time, customized pre-filled letter to send to the credit bureaus and businesses, companies, and debt collectors. You're going to be able to update your plan and track your progress. And then you'll also be able to get advice about what to do if you're affected by specific data breaches. Now, Social Security can only do so much to help you. We're not the credit bureau. We are not the FTC. We can provide outreach and education. We can help you to replace or correct your Social Security card. We can issue you a new number, but it's very limited, the conditions in which we can issue a new card. So there are some requirements that have to be met. We can verify your SSA records. We can verify your earnings record to make sure no one's been using your social to work. And of course, we have the different hotline referrals, which are the numbers and websites that we can refer you to. What Social Security can't do is correct your credit record. We can't file identity theft reports for you. We cannot act as your advocate. SSA's role is to correct your earnings record. We assign Social Security numbers. We provide verification. We make referrals, but we can't do these things for you. On this next slide is the credit bureau contact information. These are the three major credit bureaus: Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. They have addresses and phone numbers. They're available online to their websites. And it's advisable that you contact each of them, all three of them, and obtain a report from all three of them as well if you're, facing identity theft. And these are, again, some key resources that identity theft victims must contact. They're all toll-free numbers. Again, the FTC, which is the Federal Trade Commission. If you have tax issues, the IRS, identity theft, the DMV hotline, and then, of course, how to get your free credit report. So I know, again, like Tish said, there's a lot of more simple information, but it's very helpful. And sometimes when you're on a phone call, you're not thinking about all the things that you do know. You're thinking about what this scammer is telling you, and they're doing it very well. So make sure to take a second and really try to apply all the things that we've gone over today to the situation so that you can be mindful not to fall subject to a scam, and be sure to protect your information. We are on several social media platforms. Our handle is @Social Security. And right here on the bottom, you can see that YouTube channel. We have a ton of videos there about Social Security information, a lot of how-to videos as well. So if you want to get latest and up-to-date information from our Office of Communications, these are the places where you can get that information. I'm going to open it up for questions. I know that I'm going to check here the Q&A feature.
Yeah, thank you, Grace. This has been great information today. Really, the tips are so incredibly helpful in helping us understand how to better protect our information. I know that I'm often wondering and curious, and I've come to the decision where I'm not even going to check it. Like it's going to be fraud 99% of the time. So I'm not even going to check it. And then I will go to either the Social Security or my credit card's actual website. And 9 times out of 10, it had nothing to do with that text or email or document that I received. So really great information helping us to understand how to protect not only our personal information, but really the importance of protecting Social Security, right? So our Social Security benefits and number. So, all right. Well, we've all learned a lot. Let's go ahead and open it up for questions. Again, please use the Q&A feature at the bottom of your screen.
Yeah, and please just keep in mind that the information has been current as of the time of the presentation, and Social Security policy is subject to change. So always visit our website for the most up-to-date information on our programs.
Yeah, and so I do notice that there are a couple questions regarding software and VPNs, and I just don't think and I'm speaking for you here, Grace, that we are informed enough to help you understand whether MS Defender or, having a different VPN might be enough to protect your personal information. Did you have anything to add to that, Grace?
You know, we actually use MS Defender and a VPN as well. I'm not sure if anything's really safe enough, Brian, but I mean, they seem pretty good so far. But it's more about, I think, constantly taking the time to make sure that everything's up to date, right? You're getting the latest design or the upgraded features. But yeah, it's hard, and that's what I have at work. But in my personal laptop, I have something a lot simpler. And sometimes these things are expensive, but I think it's just making sure you have some type of antivirus software that includes the firewalls.
All righty, here's one. Do I need to go into an SSA office to request block electronic access, or can I do this on my account?
Now, that is a great question. I don't actually know that one. If it's I don't think you can do it online. You have to contact us. The reason for that is we're going to want to make sure that it's you who's asking for the block. And so with your ID, we will know that it's a valid request. Whereas if it was a scammer, we wouldn't know. We wouldn't want to block it by the scammer's request. So yes, I believe you have to go into the SSA office with your photo ID.
I believe that may have changed pretty recently, as Grace was saying, as far as you have to go into the office, because I did find a publication based on identity theft from the Social Security Administration, and it did give a link, and I clicked on it, and it says that feature is currently unavailable to do online. So I believe, along with that, if you did see a publication that says you can do it online, that access is does not work right now. So you would have to go in as well to do that.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Yeah.
All righty. Does Social Security offer any monitoring services to alert me if my information is being used suspiciously?
No, we do not have any type of monitoring service. I mean, if you have a MySSA account, you could check your earnings record, but that would be a year later. So yeah, we do not.
Ready. Can your Social Security number be used by another person without your permission to use for credit purposes when there is no credit to be utilized?
I believe if they're meaning credit, like credit cards, yes, I think that's what people use to try to open accounts. Your social with a combination of other information, and they open credit card accounts or they open cell phone accounts.
Yeah, so you absolutely want to protect that Social Security number. All righty. There's a question here about, can a data breach hurt when purchasing a home? I'm not sure if you can address that, Grace.
I believe, I'm not an expert in that, but I think on one of the slides, it does highlight that, if there was a data breach and someone has started to use your information when you're trying to purchase a home and they're running your credit, they're getting all your financial information, it could look like you have, more accounts than maybe you are aware of that could affect your purchasing of a home.
Is there a most common scam that's been identified targeting Social Security benefits? I mean, I thought the video was fantastic at laying out, how to spot a scam. But have you heard of anything in particular that everyone should watch out for?
Yeah, they're actually, there've been ongoing investigations since these scams came out. And so they're not seen as often as they were being seen. But we did have callers saying that they were from the Social Security Agency again, saying that your account needed additional information and that if you didn't respond or provide your information, you would be subject to legal action. That was a phone call scam. That was leaving voice messages if you didn't answer it. Another one was emails coming from Social Security, where they would even show a picture of their badge. You know, if you work for the government, you often have a credential ID to be used either to get into a building or for your computer login, all of these things. And they would send pictures via email of their badge to show that they were legitimately government employees when really they weren't.
Okay, thank you, Grace. Alrighty, so here's a question. So I'm applying for a job as a truck driver, and I've been asked to complete the application online. Is it safe to use my Social Security, add my Social Security number for online applications?
I think you would want to just make sure that the website that's housing that application is safe and secure, that there were security parameters that you went through before accessing that application. So I would check with the company and confirm with them that that information is somehow encrypted or safe.
All right, I don't see any other questions. So thank you so much, Grace. You have a great day.